Hello, Mrs. Hagan. Can you hear me? Okay, you waved at me, so I take that to be yes. All right, just want to make sure I
I
had my
can
head.
hear you. Yeah.
Thanks, and I just want to make sure I had my head.
Those are teachers?
Okay.
Hey, Krista, can you tell me what screen you see right now?
Sure, it says PTSA Distance Learning Assistance Programs, slide 13.
All right.
There we go.
Now-
There's the Pine Hollow Middle School back to school night.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. We're gonna get started at 6:02, so if you have to run to the bathroom or get a drink, you got a couple minutes. Krista, my internet was spotty for the 6th grade back to school night. So if my audio dies, can you start waving or interrupt me?
Sure, I will do that.
Thank you.
And Ben, I just noticed I'm sitting in the office that your internet cuts out when the phone rings.
Interesting.
Yeah,
All right.
that's just super random. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Perryman needs to stand at the phones during the next 2 hours and just hang up anytime anybody calls.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ben Campopiano, principal at Pine Hollow. It's 6:02. Let's get rolling. This is the 7th grade back to school night, our virtual style. And if you can see here, you should see the agenda for the evening. I'm going to give an overview, and then Melissa Brennan, our vice principal, she'll be talking about scheduling, 504s, and IEPs. Our counselor, Mr. Perryman, will be talking about counseling, academic and social emotional supports, care team. And our teachers, our 7th grade teachers, are here with us tonight. They'll be sharing some big picture stuff that's important for our 7th grade students and parents to know. And then we'll have some time for a question and answer. This will be a hard stop at 7 o'clock because we got to jump onto the 8th grade call. We will be recording this meeting, and I will be sharing it out as well as the slide deck today. I'm going to go pretty fast here so we can get to teachers and your questions. First off, I want to say thank you. I know that we'd rather be in person. The energy of having students and parents and everybody on campus is way more fun and way more personal, way more relational. And, you know, we're teachers and we're educators at heart, and we love kids and we miss your kids. So this is not easy for us. We're making the best of it. We're trying to be as positive as we can and make things as good as we possibly can. But, right now that we know this isn't the best forum, this is going to be a more of a broad back to school night than maybe you've done before, where you hear from each teacher for 10 minutes, let's say. So on one hand, there'll be some positives to this, but it may not be as personally scripted towards each teacher. All right, so I'm going to move forward with learning from home. And I'm seeing all these awesome pictures of your kids at home. And I always want to say to the kids, clear off your desk, right? And it's partially just because I'm sort of an OCD in my workspace, but it is a good reminder, wherever your kids are working, desk, table, whatever their workspace is, try to simplify, try to get rid of stuff they don't need at that moment, right? If your kid is in English class, he shouldn't have a history book sitting next to the English book. We want that history book down somewhere else, out of his vision, and not trying to grab his attention. Try to understand that even though they're at home, which is certainly positive in a lot of ways, we want them to be comfortable, yes, but we want them to be scholarly. We don't want them, laying on their couch and in their PJs. We want them to be scholarly. They're more likely to stay focused, and they're more likely to be productive if they're feeling scholarly in their dress, in their surroundings, and so forth. So just think about how that works at your house. Earbuds help. They help because they improve audio for the speaker, and they help your child ignore distractions at your house or in the room. So consider that if you haven't yet. And then stand, stretch, and move. Mr. Agnost, who you'll see on the screen, he'll wave. He and I did about 100 push-ups today. Every hour we were texting each other that we had to do 20. And the reason is you got to stand, you got to stretch, you got to move. When kids are sitting all day, it's terrible for them. They're getting tired, they're getting sleepy, their bones, they're everything, right? And that's true for adults, but it's especially true for kids. So really encourage them, set timers, set reminders. Maybe put a little something on their wall that they can check off that they're stretching. However it looks, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, run around the house, do something during the breaks that's active. We've got to get our kids moving. Even if kids are in school, they don't move enough. And now that they're at home, they're moving less, and that's not good. So think about how that looks for your kid at your house. All right, access. We have had amazing access the first 3 days. Now, it hasn't been perfect, right? We've had webcam issues, we've had link issues, we've had internet issues, and it's not been perfect, but our access has been amazing. The engagement and attendance has been better than it was the last 2 years, the first 3 days. And so that's really cool to see. And one thing we are committed to as a staff is to try to figure out how to make our platforms and our access more simple and uniform and consistent. That said, it's not perfect. It's not one place, because we don't have one platform that can do it all. For example, HomeLink is where we do grades. We cannot do grades, on the one-stop shop or in the Google Classroom. We have to use HomeLink. And HomeLink doesn't do the things that Google Classroom does. So we're going to have multiple platforms. That's just the reality. But our commitment to students and parents is to try to be as uniform and as simple as possible with these platforms and entry points. The one-stop shop is kind of your broad overview that directs you places. The grade level Google sites are sites that give you a bio. I was reading Mr. Vallis's bio the other day about his football career, right? You can learn more about teachers. You can see their syllabi. You can get more in-depth info on the grade level Google sites. The Google Classrooms are where your child goes to do the work, to get the instructions, to get the links and the resources. HomeLink, as you guys know, is attendance, grades, assignments. And Zoom, of course. Most of our teachers are using Zoom right now. Okay, Zoom links. This has been the #1 problem across the country. Where's the Zoom link? And there's been a lot of struggle with that all over the country these last few days. We had a pretty good system the first few days. Most kids got it, but it has tweaked a little, which threw some people off. Right now, we no longer have our Zoom links in public forums. Our public place, the one-stop shop, and the Google sites are public, so we've removed Zoom links from there, so we don't have unwanted guests in our Zoom calls. And so Zoom links are in the Google Classroom, or they're in HomeLink. And to your child, it should just be a click of a button in either of those spots. All right, attendance. So attendance for you all feels pretty similar as last year. If your child's sick, you call it in to the attendance registrar, or you email the attendance registrar. You go to the website, there's an attendance button. It gives you instructions of what you need to do. But on our end, the state ed code has changed around attendance. And what this means is that, you'll see some different markings. We've also moved to a block schedule, which is different than you're used to. So attendance is a little bit different. And we've already seen that a couple errors have occurred, no fault to our teachers, just with the system. So I would recommend checking attendance daily right now and monitoring that, because we've already caught a couple errors that, again, were systematic. And then after this week, check it weekly and just let us know and say, hey, this was a mistake, we'll fix it. Or my internet was down, I need to be excused, or whatever. We'll be flexible, we'll be helpful with attendance and how that works and how that looks, all right? Okay, our staff is committed to trying to simplify the process for homework and assignments. We've agreed as a staff to post our assignments by 9 a.m. daily. And a lot of teachers are doing it by 9 a.m. on Monday, and just all the assignments for the week by 9 a.m. Monday. But all of us agree that we've got to get the assignments posted in the morning so you have a clear plan for your day. And all of the assignments, the regular assignments, are due by 9 p.m. Sunday night. Those are regular assignments, not the huge old projects, but the regular work. This allows you to have a clear plan for your week so that you can, if you need to work on Saturdays and Sundays, that you can do that. It allows so there's not confusion about due dates and so forth. Our staff has decided that based off the spring and the fact that late work became a nightmare for kids, we're not going to accept late work except in extenuating circumstances, because kids were it was a nightmare, and kids were not only not learning material, it was bogging them down, and it was a real nightmare in the distance learning in the spring. All right, moving on. I know I'm going fast, but our grading system is back to normal, the A to F system. You'll see grades popping in HomeLink. You'll see assessments and tests and essays and projects just like normal. You will see a progress report come home in the mail and grades come in through the mail. You'll see all that. So although we're trying to start slow and transition as smoothly as possible, things will ramp up. And when grades start to happen, it does cause stress. We understand that, we know that. And so we're trying to really support the kids as we get into this process about how to be successful, how to set up your planner, how to check your classroom, how to check HomeLink, how to schedule your day and your week and really be successful. We're collaborating a lot, even though we're doing a lot of our work virtually, so that our teachers are on the same page about homework and assessments. All right. HomeLink. Okay, I know all of you are familiar with HomeLink, and I encourage you to check it regularly and encourage your child to check their account regularly. That's a good thing, but that's not the only, that's not the only place. Please make sure that you're familiarizing yourself with the Google Sites and the Google Classroom so that you start to understand what kind of work they are expected to do and how to do it. HomeLink is sort of an informational portal. Those other platforms are really our learning portals. One thing I will say about attendance, as I'm at the HomeLink slide here, is you're looking for P's, for present. If a child is in a Zoom call, like you are with me right now, you'd be marked present. You'd be given a P. If your child is not in the Zoom call, they're going to get an A, absent. All right. The state has said if they do other work throughout the day, then we'll give them a different marking showing their engagement. So it's different, and it's something I will need to try to continue to explain to parents via our website and newsletter and calls and so forth. But you're really looking for that P, that present for each class. And again, check it in case there's a mistake. Let us know if there's an internet issue. We're flexible. We're reaching out, or we'll reach back out to you easily within 24 hours. Our teachers are committed to doing that by email. And so just reach out to us if there's an issue. Okay, Gmail. One thing we're finding is that this is something you could do right away with your kids, or this weekend spend some time. Adolescents, a lot of us are terrible with email. Like, we can admit it. We've got thousands of emails. My wife, every time I open up her email, she's got 50 pages of emails in her inbox. A lot of people struggle with email. Well, especially kids do. So you've got to help them, and our teachers are working on this, but you can really help them. Log into their Gmail, sit down with them when you have an hour, half hour, clean out their inbox, set up folders, set up labels, customize it to the color they like, to the font they like, the way they like it, and really try to get in the habit of each week. We want to have inbox 0. We want to have a fresh week where our inboxes are not cluttered. All right. that is a skill they need to learn, and it's going to really help them be successful. It's just like the student planner. The better they get at that, the better they get at using Google Calendar and Gmail, the more likely they're going to have success. The thing is, we know they need help at it. So we're helping, and I encourage you to do the same. Okay, Google Voice is something we've really jumped onto this spring and this fall. If your teacher has Google Voice, that means you can text them, you can call them, and it'll go to their cell. I have a Google Voice, and people have been texting me, and it's a nice feature. Feel free to do that. If not, if your teacher doesn't have a Google Voice, email them, call their extension, and we're committed to getting back to you quick. I know that the phone, it's been hard to reach the office, the last couple of days because a lot of people have been calling. But if you leave me a message, if you leave me an email, a text, a call, whatever, I will get back to you that day. And our teachers are within 24 hours. So we're committed to communicating really well. Our teachers are using a lot of different ways to communicate, whether it's Remind text, whether it's Google Voice so they can personally text or call, whether it's mass emails or their websites or whatever. Okay, I say this a lot, but if you're not receiving my newsletter, you got to let me know, contact our office. I add you to my distribution list. Right now, we've got over 1,000 parents on that list, but if you're not receiving them, I'll check if you're on my distribution list. It may be going to spam or whatever. You can also see my newsletters on the school website. Okay, the PTSA, the Parent Club, is really committed to trying to spend every dollar they raise this fall on distance learning assistance programs. What that means and what that looks like is they don't want to save the money. They don't want to spend the money on things that won't support all kids during this time. They want to spend it on something that will support all kids during the semester. So rewards, incentives, assistant, a person who calls them, after school and checks in on them, who reminds and encourages them about their work and so forth. So please go to the PTSA website. If you cannot give dollars, look at all the volunteer opportunities and what else and what other ways you can get involved. We have a PTSA meeting next Wednesday night at 7:30. It's virtual. You can come and listen in, and we really need everyone's support. I get everyone's super busy, and this is a crazy time in our world. I get it, but we really do need you. We need your assistance financially. We need your assistance with your time and your expertise. So check out the PTA website. They're doing awesome things. They've raised a ton of money already this fall, and they're hoping to get more so we can keep doing great things for distance learning. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing now, and I am. You guys still hearing me? Okay, right? Thank you. Okay. I always get the. All right. So next up, I'm gonna pass it off to Mrs. Brennan. Melissa's internet was also going in and out a little earlier. So Melissa, if you can unmute, are you good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. So go ahead. Melissa is our fabulous vice principal, and she's going to talk about special education and 504s and scheduling. So go ahead, Melissa.
I see a lot of familiar faces. So good evening. Nice to see everybody. I'm Melissa Brennan. I've been at Pine Hollow. This is my 6th year. I always say Pine Hollow is the hidden gem of Concord. It's a great school. Lots going on. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about master scheduling. The main thing I wanted you to know is, unfortunately, just due to some of our budget limitations, we weren't able to offer as many electives as we would hope to. But what we are able to do is really focus on making sure we're allocating the sections that we are given to the students on creating those core classes. So our English, history, math, science, we're keeping those numbers as close to class max as we can. We wanted to make sure we were fully staffed in those core classes so students had the opportunity to take those core classes at their home site in smaller classes and have the most opportunities available through the distance learning. 2 other things I wanted to note with you. Students who have special needs or students who have some type of symptom or behavior they need support with that would offer a 504 plan. We are still meeting. We're still holding IEP meetings. We also are going to be holding 504 meetings. Our secretaries will be reaching out to you to schedule those. What we'll do is review your IEP, and we'll also review your 504. We can talk about what distance learning plan can look like for your child. We want to make sure they're supported in all the ways they can. Special ed teachers, which on your IEP would be the case manager, or if your student is in resource or in SGC, would be their academic success class teacher or their primary teacher if in their institute. They'll be reaching out to you too to talk about what your accommodations are and what distance learning looks like. Just know that we're committed to supporting you. We understand that this time is different, and so because it's different, not the traditional way isn't always going to work. We also understand that students learn at their own paces, and then they have the additional challenge of not being able to receive the services at the site. We also have been connecting with service providers who will be providing service to your students should those be in their IEPs as well. And I'm a mom. I just want to let you know we have grace. We understand every day looks different. My little guy's going through the distance learning as well. So be kind to yourself. Parents are doing a great job. And I appreciate you teaming with our teacher community and the school. And we've got your back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Eldridge, you said my audio was a little choppy. How does it sound now? Good?
No, it sounds great.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Melissa. You know, I've said this a lot, that distance learning is difficult for everyone. Being in this time is hard for all families, but it's particularly hard for students who, you know, they don't love school already, or they struggle with school, they have a disability or an impairment or some need that makes school hard for them in a regular time. Distance learning exacerbates it. So, you know, we certainly understand we are limited with how we can provide accommodations and modifications because we can't do it in person, but we are committed to figuring it out best we can. And like Melissa said, our staff will be reaching out. You know, we have we had our first care team meeting today, and you know, we're committed to supporting students with those needs, and we'll be in touch next week and the week after. So I'm now going to pass it off to our awesome counselor, Mr. Perryman. He's here all 5 days a week. He runs our counseling program, and both academic and social emotional. He's phenomenal. He's available to you and your children by text, by phone, by Zoom. He runs our web program, which some of you have web leaders, and he is phenomenal. So Mr. Perryman, take it away.
All right, welcome everyone. Good to have most of you here this evening. Just want to say thank you, Mr. Campo, for all of that support. As he mentioned, I do run what we call here at Pine Hollow the WEB program. WEB stands for Everybody Belongs. And it's a sixth grade transition program that kind of welcomes new students and sixth graders. This year, a lot of the web leaders are going to be working with our new students. I do notice a few new names and some that I've known from the past. And you know, the web leaders will reach out to those new students to welcome them to Pine Hollow and make them feel comfortable, kind of navigate them around seventh grade and what it looks like. And you know, I also provide academic support. That's my main job as a school counselor. However, I do offer social and emotional support as well for you know, helping students learn how to deal with social skills and also how to learn those supports as well. And I am available and excited to say that I am here full time, 5 days a week. My office hours are from 8 to 3. Feel free to call me on Google Voice. I'll leave my number in the chat, or email me if you have a student that needs that additional support. Yeah, I usually work with organization. I help students use their planners, teach them how to kind of just navigate seventh grade and throughout their years here at Pine Hollow. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If you have any student concerns, feel free to call or email. And thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Perryman. So excited to have you back full-time here. And before I pass it off to some of our seventh grade teachers who want to share a little bit, I see a couple questions in the chat that I'll try to answer. First off, today, Homestead was second period. Your child went to Homestead from 9 to 10 o'clock. Homestead is their second period class. And for the rest of the day, they have chance to check in with teachers and do independent work. So Wednesday is much different than the other days, but Homestead is particularly focused on building community, building culture, having an intervention hour where we can answer questions or troubleshoot problems. You know, when I see questions about, you know, how do I access HomeLink, for example, or a kid asks, how do I access HomeLink? In Homestead, we're going to tackle that problem. We're going to get every kid on HomeLink. We're going to work on those Google inboxes. We're going to practice kids, you know, how they should present themselves on Zoom. So Homestead is a chance for us to build community and culture, answer questions, provide announcements, have homework support, and intervention time. So that's what Homestead's all about. Okay, before I pass on to the teachers, do the Chromebooks have the ability to connect to an external monitor? They should, based on if you have the right cord or if we can find you the right cord. So reach out to me about that. I just would work with you on which cord and if we have one. I do see Tina asked about HomeLink, and yes, every parent has a HomeLink account, but also every student has their own HomeLink account. So it's essentially the same thing, but we want to empower students to have their own HomeLink account. And so we will be setting up kids who don't have one. I ran the list today. Most 7th and 8th graders already have theirs set up, but we will be ensuring that. So Ryan asked, is the Remind platform being used this year, or have those types of communications just been moved to Google Classroom? Good question about Remind. The school district is now using School Messenger, which is how I make my robocalls to y'all. And that has enabled us to text parents who opt in. So that'll be rolled out soon. That said, certain teachers are using Remind for their classes, so they can text you and the students in mass. So some of you might see Remind solicitations from teachers, and that's a good thing to join and for your students to join. I won't be using Remind this year. I'll be using School Messenger, and I'll use that regularly once it's up and running. All right. Mr. F asks about Aries Portal is no longer supported on a mobile app. I've not heard that. In fact, I heard that they have a new mobile version that's better. But I see some of you are having problems with the HomeLink app, including Krista. So I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so Samantha asked a question and then I'll pass it off to the teachers. What do we do if our child missed today's login? We misunderstood the Wednesday schedule. What you would do is you'd email me, you'd email the attendance secretary, you could email the teacher if you want. You just say exactly that. We screwed up, we didn't understand the bell schedule, or our internet was off, or whatever. We'll adjust it from our end. We'll excuse it. I'll excuse it. The issue is the work that maybe they missed. Today was, you know, they didn't miss anything, but in the future, if you miss something, right, you got to figure out how to get that info back. So that's where you would want to say to the teacher, hey, sorry, I missed it for whatever reason, and work to figure out what was missed. But we'll be flexible with attendance. Just reach out to me, the attendance secretary, and the teacher. You can go to our website and there's an attendance button in a couple spots with more info. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to the teachers. Mr. Eldridge, if you wanted to speak first, I'll let you jump in. Teachers are going to talk here for a little bit, and then we'll have time for a Q&A session in 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay,
Mike?
so I don't want to take up too much time, but what I wanted to do is just walk you around some of the things on my site so you can kind of see. Oops, I have to share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll show you just where everything goes, we hope. Okay, so from the one-stop shop, of course, And by the way, I only teach about 35 seventh graders. Miss Ono teaches a lot more seventh graders. But okay, so from the one-stop shop, you can go to my class. Whoop, oh, sorry. I gotta go back up here. Oh, I lost it. There it is. Okay. I'm not very much help here. Sorry about that.
See, you're not alone in all this. We're all going through this.
There we go. Okay, I found it. Okay, so we're going to go to seventh grade Google site. So this is the seventh grade Google site. And down here's my class. And you click on that. And this just gives you some of the basic stuff to help them get through the day. This is to get them to Google Classroom if they need to. Slowly loading. There it is. Okay, so that'll take them to their class. And that's the code for period 3. This is the work for the week. Now, I have not put definitive dates on these. There are definitive dates on some of the classroom assignments, and even those I had to change because when kids take more time to do something, I give them more time. And when we're doing more together, I give them more time. I don't move dates forward unless everybody's just so bored and they want it to get done with the assignment. Then but it's going to take a lot. It's going to take all the students wanting that for me to move a date forward. Most of the time I move it back. But these are just the things that we're doing in class, and down here are the things that will be homework. Homework being the stuff that's due Sunday night. This stuff will finish in class. A lot of times I provide them a link. Like if there's a story for, this is the YouTube recording of 7th grade, the story 114 through 126. That's the YouTube. And then this is a PDF. In other words, if they didn't get their book, they could click on this and they could read the story online still. So although hopefully they're going to have their book by now. We have 2 books. We have the Big Purple Literature book, and we have the novel Beowulf right now, which is a nice thin novel. We're going to start that. It doesn't look that exciting at first, but I think they'll enjoy it once they get going on it. And then back here we got the syllabus. This tells you where we're going. I'm not going to even click on it, but it tells you generally where we're hoping to go with all this stuff. But you can click on it when you want to and see all the places we're hoping to go. These are basic expectations of behavior and how they're supposed to act online and how they're supposed to act as far as getting things in on time. My big thing is don't submit a blank assignment. If you submit a blank assignment to make your parents think you did the assignment, I will not let you make it up. It cannot be counted late. Do not submit a blank assignment. Attach something to it and at least give me something. Or have your parents email me on Sunday night because you have extenuating circumstances and you have a legitimate excuse for it being late, and then we'll just take it late. All right. And then sometimes there are tech help things that they might need. This is the link to Khan Academy, where right now we're trying to work on a mastery version of grammar. Right now they've only been assigned the nouns unit, and they might have started it. They might not have even started it yet because I haven't talked about it in any class yet for 7th graders. Okay, so that's the whole thing. And I think I'll stop there because I don't want to take everybody else's time. And I will stop sharing and I'll let somebody else take over.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Eldridge. Okay, I'm gonna move to the next teacher if there's another teacher that wants to say anything. Okay, we'll go Joanne and then we'll go Erica. Joanne is one of our world history teacher and our leadership teacher. Go ahead, Joanne.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I emailed you all today about world history, but I just want to follow up with a few things that Ben and Mr. Eldridge have touched on. First of all, I was muting out my video a lot, running around asking my kids to log off of their various devices because it was affecting the performance on my computer. So just keep that in mind, that if your kids are having bandwidth issues, maybe someone else is on there watching YouTube videos that they don't need, and they maybe need to log off so that the other kids can get good reception, like at my house. Also, to follow up, Google is an awesome platform. I spent a lot of time in my homestead today helping the kids set up folders in their email, helping them delete email, asking them to clean up their email in general. And by the end of the period, they were all doing a pretty good job with it. They could create folders for each of their classrooms, and they knew how to file and move mail around, and they knew how to delete mail. They knew how to find accidentally deleted email in the trash. But if you can continue to work with them, that would be great. I talked to them about email being their new planner, right? We also went through and we set settings in their Google Classroom for what they're emailed about. So there's a whole bunch of settings. If they're in Google Classroom, they can go to settings and they can turn off a lot of the email. There were a lot of complaints at the end of last year that they were just being inundated by email. And it's true, you get emails that an assignment was assigned. You get an email that it's almost due. You get an email that it's due. You get an email that it's past due. And it just floods them and it's overwhelming. So we went through that today and they learned how to turn a lot of that off. But if you can continue to work with them on that, that would be great. Also, as far as Google Classroom, I am making a strong appeal. If you would like to be added as a guardian in Classroom, please email one of your children's teachers. I spent a lot of time today looking into Gmail or into Google Classroom, and the only way for you to be added as a guardian is for us to email you and invite you. You can't add yourself. And so when I have 180 students, I have the entire 7th grade. If you could email me and say, hey, please email me and invite me as a guardian, I would be happy to do that. Otherwise, it's on my list to add people to start emailing everyone and inviting them. That's going to take a long time. So if you really want those notifications, if I add you, you'll be added for everyone, right? So you only have to be added once. So if you can email one of your students' teachers to ask them to be for guardian reports, please do that. Let's see. Also, we've talked a lot. It seems that technology has turned our children into mutes. I was doing a lot of work with Google breakout rooms, and almost every room I visited, the kids had there were maybe 5 kids in the breakout room. They all had their cameras off and they were refusing to talk to each other. So if you could encourage your children to participate in their classes. They want to text everything. I threaten to turn off the chat if they can't actually talk to each other face to face. So please tell them that it's important, it's imperative that even though we're online, that they are able to talk to each other, right, and introduce each other. Social skills are really suffering through this entire thing. So I don't want to make it a participation thing, but I did threaten them with that today if they keep turning their cameras off in the chat rooms. Let's see, for leadership parents, just very quickly, I am in touch with Ms. Quinn and she is guiding me through this transition. Our primary goal right now is to get through the election of officers at the beginning of the year. And from there, the kids and I are doing a lot of conversation about how do we build community in a virtual environment. So that's really our goal as leadership this year. And I think most of us, to just follow up on this, what Mr. Eldridge was saying, most of us are following his guidelines regarding online behavior. Kids need to have their cameras on, and we need to be their primary focus. I've had kids already with multiple screens and they're looking over there while you're trying to talk and instruct them. So if they could have one screen in one place and be encouraged to participate, that would be awesome. But otherwise, we've been off to a great start. Everybody's where they need to be. They're all in classroom, they're all in mail. Google Calendar is going to be a challenge, and I'm working towards getting them there. But otherwise, it's been a great start to the year, and I really appreciate all the work you've put into getting them where they need to be at the beginning. So thank you, and I'm done.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, Erico and Krista wanted to say something, and Mr. Gross wanted to say something. So Erico, if you can just take a couple minutes, go ahead. You're on mute, Erico.
There you go. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah, go ahead, Erico.
Great, thank you. I had a teacher account setup problem in the beginning. So Monday and Tuesday, both days, that people had a lot of problems to come into my Zoom class and then also to sign on Google Classes with the link. Now that is fixed by the district. So now everybody should be able to access my Zoom class and the Google Classroom. So now it's a smooth sailing. And then I'm not going to repeat same things that Mr. Eldridge and Mrs. Wathen had already presented. So I'm going to add on something, something different. Now, my material is the 7th grade textbook so that everybody can have the universal access to it. And in the first quarter, I am reading series of short stories. Now, the work is submitted in Google Classroom, and some students didn't understand the concept. And it is very important that stream area, that is a teacher post and the students post. And then my announcement of the assignment would be there automatically. However, students must click classwork tab. And then once you find the assignment, you need to click on the assignment to get the details. This is critical. Some students just read the stream posting. That would not cut it. All the links and videos or instructions will be in the classwork section. So please tell the students that they have to open the classwork tab and then need to click on the assignment, the particular assignment they want to work on. Now, another thing, it is important for students to check emails. Today, I notified all the parents and students that my system is fixed by the district. And I hope you read that, and some people responded, and I thank you. Now, when you respond, it will help me so much if you mention your child's name and the period they're in. That will cut our time so much. And then the students, they're texting me, they're writing me emails, or they're posting in the classroom. But when they're texting, hey, Ms. Ono, would not let me understand who that is because the only thing that shows is the phone number. So please let them introduce themselves, that who they are, which period they are in, so that I can understand who's talking to me. And then in emails, please write down the period number and the name of the students. I need that. Now, in Zoom class, what I noticed is this, that when students are not showing their faces, their video is not on. I do not know if the student is on or is out of the class or they're there. So I keep on asking questions to these people that their video is not on, I cannot see their faces, and the participation is part of their grades. So if you can, please turn on the videos so that I can see their facial expressions, I can see their participating. That's what I have today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Ono. There is a question for you by Emily in the chat. Ed, if you can also check the chat for a private message from me. I'm going to go now to Mrs. Miller, and then Mr. Gross, and then Mr. Walker. Let's go now to Mrs. Miller.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Miller. So a couple things I wanted to mention. Parents, can you please make sure that your email address and your phone number is up to date in HomeLink? Most teachers, when we send out emails to parents, that's where we go get the information from. So if your email changes or you're not getting emails from teachers, please check that information. My recommendation for parents, for access to Classroom, I do this, I have a 8th grade son, is I have his username and password saved so that I can log into his account and I can check his assignments And then I don't have, the parent view is a little bit different from the student view. So that's my recommendation, but you can also do the Guardian route if you prefer. For math, our program is called Digits. It's been online for a couple years. Even though the program is online, students still need to write for math and they have to show their scratch work. So one of the materials that I'm asking all students have is a spiral notebook or a composition book. And my weekly paper on Sunday, the Staples ad, there are 1 subject notebooks for 10 cents at Staples, limit 6. So I told a couple classes, have your mom or dad take you to Staples, pretend you don't know each other, your mom buys 6 notebooks, you buy 6 notebooks. But that's gonna be something that's gonna be really useful for the kids. It's, they need to have a math notebook just for math, if they're not putting any other work in, and there may be a couple other classes that would like them to have a notebook. Please set a schedule and a routine for your child. That will help them in this crazy world of distance learning, is having a schedule. The last thing I just wanted to reiterate is that no late work past Sunday 9 p.m. My goal is to post every assignment by Monday at 9 a.m. so that students have all week to work on them. And hopefully I'll be able to do that. But if I can't get every assignment posted by Monday, I'll definitely have an agenda. But they have until Sunday at 9 p.m. to do their work. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. I'm going to now go to our art teacher, Mr. Gross. Go ahead.
Welcome back, Pine Hollow parents, and welcome Pine Hollow parents. It's new, and a lot of this is new to all of us. So thanks for joining us on the ride. I'm not going to get into all the technical details and so on. I'm just going to explain in my class. I'm going to grade on effort like I always have. More important, I want you aware, I'm trying to get as much outside of the computer as possible. I want your kids working on their fine motor. I want your kids learning the hand-eye coordination. I want them away from the computer for a lot of the art projects. As I told them today, it's very important they communicate with me. I can't get every supply to every student. To start with, everybody needs a pencil and some paper. That'll get us started. Beyond that, it's very important a parent gets a hold of me and lets me know what they need, and I will make sure you can get materials. If I have to get them to you, we will make it happen. So please, please, please communicate with me. If you're those families who are lucky enough to have a lot of art supplies and so on at home, that's great. Maybe you want to kick some my way, or you want to donate or help another family. I'm just going to reiterate what everybody said. I am available pretty much all the time, and I check my work email from the time I get up to the time I go to bed all weekend. We're really flexible this year, and we're going to do everything we can to get your kids through this having a good time. So I reiterate what I say every year. Don't hesitate to get a hold of me. Don't be shy. Knock on my door, call me, text me. There are many ways to get a hold of me, and I look forward to talking to all of you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Mr. Gross, there's a question for you in the chat. Mrs. Miller, there's a comment about posting assignments. Maybe you can tackle. Joanne, I see your hand up, but we're going to go for interest of time to Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker is our science teacher and our robotics teacher. Mr. Walker?
Well, hi, thank you. I would like to start by thanking the parents who were patient with us this week. Monday was quite the challenge for many of my students, getting the right login, passwords, user codes, and the parents were very patient helping, and I want to thank you all. You did a great job. Hopefully by Friday, all the students will be locked in and ready to go. In science this year, I am going to try to get the kids social. I will be assigning a lot of group projects so that they have to work together. We won't be doing any labs since they're working at home, but I'm going to do my best to create a classroom where they have to work together and they do projects together. I'm still trying to figure out what that'll look like, but don't be surprised if they have a lot of group science projects. The other thing that's already cropped up this week, and it's been hit on by a couple other teachers, is we're going to have some discipline issues. I notice students will log in and then they'll open another screen and be doing something during class. When you're looking at 180 kids a day for 4 hours, you can tell when they're not paying attention. If I believe your student is playing video games or Snapchatting or YouTubing during class, I'm going to throw them out of the class for 5 minutes, and then you'll get an email, and you'll get emails repeatedly. The first time you'll probably believe your kid. I was looking at my textbook. Hopefully by the third time you get an email, you'll believe me that your kid is looking this way while I'm talking. So that has been an issue already. Hopefully we can resolve that, but I think all the teachers are going to have that challenge. Voicemail, we did set up Google Voice. That rings to our personal phones, by the way. My phone rang through about till 2 in the morning the first time. Please have your kids use Gmail to contact me, or use the website. If you need to contact me, go ahead and call, but the phone calls should be for you, not necessarily the kids calling me 24/7. And lastly, be patient with us as we try to get to know your kids. It is so much easier to get to know them when they're sitting in front of us, being animated, interacting, talking. I've noticed in the classrooms like this, the kids will all chat, but they won't actually say anything out loud. It's very hard to get to know your kids. We want to get to know your kids. I love my students from last year. I'm looking forward to my students from this year, but it is so hard to get them to share and talk and engage online. They're much more comfortable typing in and chatting with each other that way. So as somebody else said, please encourage them to engage in this format. It's new for them, it's new for us, but that's how we're going to get to know your students and help them the best. And again, thank you. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Text me if you have any questions.
Thanks so much, Mr. Walker. Were there any other teachers that wanted to say anything?
Yes, this is Mrs. Jimenez for Spanish. I have 2 7th grade Spanish classes, Spanish 1A and Spanish for Spanish speakers. Very excited to have that. I'm going to ditto everything that other teachers have said regarding behavior and everything, but I want to emphasize 2 things for Spanish. We'll be using breakout rooms a lot because, like was just said, students are very nervous about speaking aloud to a screen of 38, 45 other students. So we're using breakout rooms a lot. So they have to use that time to speak Spanish. If you don't speak it, you're not going to learn it. So it's really awkward via computer, so I put them with a partner and they can talk on their own, but they have to talk. And the other thing for Spanish, other than talking, is writing. Typing on a keyboard, they're not going to learn Spanish by typing on a keyboard, so they do need a notebook as well, because we will be doing some writing. Otherwise, it's not going to get up here. I'll have another night as well just for Spanish, but I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Mrs. Jimenez. And I know I said we're going to do a hard stop at 7. But what I'm going to do is pass the host off to Mr. Perriman in a little bit, so you guys can do a 10-minute Q&A here in a couple minutes. I'm going to jump on with the 8th grade back to school parents. Are there any teachers that haven't spoken yet that want to share something? Ms. Hagan, go ahead.
Sorry, now I can't figure out how to unmute myself. Hi, I'm Rachel Hagan. I've got 1 section of 7th grade science this year. I just wanted to quickly let you know that you can find my syllabus on the grade level site. I've got a remind code, so sign up for updates. And you'll also be receiving weekly updates from me via email and also posted on my website concerning what we're all doing in class and if you need any materials for that week. So just wanted to say hi.
Thank you, Rachel. Any other teachers? Mr. Agnost, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Mr. Agnos, and I have 1 section of Math 7 this year. I'm also in a new position for me. This is the first year that I have a child who is the same age as I teach. So I got a 7th grader down the hall. I have to live with him. So he goes to Valley View Middle School. So I know exactly what you guys are going through. And in all seriousness, it's really a benefit because I can see what the experience he's having as a parent with the inbox and with his teachers, and it definitely influences the way that I teach. Really quick, if you have specific questions about my class, I'm going to get into that with your students next week. So please email me and we can talk about grades and points and how I'm going to run my classroom in my super cool YouTube channel that I started. I have sort of two themes that are just going to guide all the decisions I make this year, and that's to be flexible and to be responsive. All right, this time is crazy. So I'm going to be as flexible as possible with you guys. I think that's one of the biggest advantages of distance learning. And then I'm going to be super responsive. Nothing's worse than emailing a teacher or you have a major problem that's stressing you out and you can't get a response. You can't get a solution. I emailed my son's teachers last year and it took 4 days to get a response. That is not me. So again, flexible, responsive. And again, I'm looking forward to meeting your kids. So shoot me an email if you have specific questions.
Okay, so I'm going to pass off the host duties to Mr. Perryman. And what we'll do is some teachers need to leave here in a little while to go to the 8th grade back to school night. And, you know, all these 7th grade teachers need to do some stuff, but you can ask them questions till about 7:15. Some other teachers might want to add in some things, and I will share out the recording and the slide deck with y'all probably tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here. Give me a second to share with Ed. I'm going to jump off. Some teachers can say some final things, and then you guys can jump into a Q&A, and Ed, you can help navigate that, okay? I'm going to stop recording just for the sake of ensuring that it happens, okay, Ed?